Hello and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast with the science and the screaming to determine the best movie for any given year. I'm your host, Greg, here to usher you on what will be, I think, a wonderful journey tonight. We're, of course, not talking about movies. We are focusing on the year 2024. Remember all the way back in 2024? We do-ish, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the broad strokes I feel like I kind of remember. And believe it or not, we're not even talking about movies this week. We are talking about TV. But fear not, we're not talking about the trash dramas of TV. Boo. No. Boo. Get out of here, you laughable, risible fools. No, instead, we are talking about something very serious, which is, of course, TV comedy. And I'm your host, Greg. As I already said, joining me, as always, one of my two Movie of the Year confreres, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. How are you doing?
Take that other, like the tragedy mask, and smash it on the ground, bro.
Yeah,
It's
not
comedy
today,
mask.
brother.
Yeah.
Not today.
We're just going to talk about so many hilarious moments in these shorter dramas.
These stories end in marriages.
Yes.
And that's what makes them comedies. Mike,
marriage.
Your own story ended in marriage. Do you believe in the institution of marriage? And also, ancillary to that, how you doing?
My story and my life ended in marriage. What is this, a 90s sitcom? It's the worst, isn't it, folks, to find somebody you love and cherish and want to spend the rest of your life with?
I will say, for the listeners, Mike's wife is attractive and Mike is kind of fat. So
yes,
it is a sitcom-esque life.
It's actually very true that we all have attractive wives, even though we are unattractive gentlemen ourselves.
Look, I know we're not talking because Kevin Can Fuck Himself didn't come out this year, but did we watch the first two episodes and have to turn it off? Sure. Am I still thinking about that months later? Sure.
Also joining me from the Debut Buddies podcast, we were lucky enough to get him making his debut on the 2024 comedy TV show. The first time he's ever been on this very particular episode. Nate, how you doing, Nate?
I ever since you found me looking at copies of People in the grocery store check line and said, you know what, you've got a face for podcasts and we've got just the one for you. I've been watching TV because I just didn't even know that there was TV on.
Can we all agree?
Turns out there's a lot.
That is true sicko behavior, looking at the People magazine. I would rather look at hardcore pornography than be seen like reading an article about Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell.
Reading an article. What about doing the crossword real quick and like bragging about it?
Man, that when you do the People crossword, it's like the only thing slowing you down is how fast you can write. Like, I mean, you can hardly like
for the first week of the month, sure, but by the last week of the month, that shit's hard.
Someone who I'm sure, by being very well read, has probably read every issue of People magazine. Books, how are you doing, Books?
I'm doing great, and yes, you know me very well. That's
Yeah.
like all I stock my bookshelves with is just issues of. I like to go back though, back to like 90s. I'm never up to date on current pop culture, but everything that happened in the 90s, I know.
Man, I feel like People magazine is probably like the equivalent of like kind of like a warm glass of water.
I don't know if you guys subscribe to Apple News.
I do. I'm an Apple News head, Ryan, so lay it on me.
That is the fucking digital news of People magazine. That is old as shit.
I don't know if you guys heard, but Red Delicious moving up the charts.
Really?
Yeah.
Of all the apples.
Wow, yeah.
I'm a pink lady man, but that's fine.
I will get updates from People from Apple News, and I will click on the article because it's clickbait, and it will be this story happened because we read it on Reddit.
Yeah.
And they will just report it. They will not interview anybody involved.
Yeah.
They will just...
People has gotten worse than BuzzFeed.
Yo,
look, all of news has gotten worse than BuzzFeed.
Well, I feel like over the past few years, the TV drama show has sucked because the TV dramas have sucked. And the TV comedy show has been like almost akin to the movie show.
Feeling a little attacked.
A little attacked. Sorry, but it's not because of your excellent hosting. It's because dramas are trash and comedies are kind of they're doing double duty. Ryan, is this another year where comedies are our best dramas?
I think maybe, probably, but also maybe the least out of any year we've ever done.
Yeah.
There's a return to not necessarily. There's a return to sitcoms overall, but I don't know if those are going to pop up on this show, like literal laugh tracks, like Tim Allen is still on TV and stuff.
Like
I know
Reva's
they
new
put
show?
They put Tim Allen with Kat Dennings.
Yeah.
I'm very conflicted. Every time they're both on the screen, I'm like, it's like that Rihanna video that has Drake in it.
Right.
And you're just like, shit, dude, this is like my least favorite thing and my favorite thing at the same time. I don't know how to feel about it.
I watched that show and I'm like, which of these three boobs are my favorite, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I do think that there are a lot of 30-minute comedies that are like, we could, I think in Caitlin speak, bring the hee-hees and ha-has much more
Yes.
than we used to.
Caitlin, wherever you are. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Caitlin, I can only assume.
Rest
But
Guys,
yeah,
if
she
you don't,
would-
if
she
you're not
would've said-
directly looking at your friend, they're dead. Just
She would have said ha-ha and hee-hee so many times by now. Books, what is the do you watch any comedies that are like sitcoms, or are we only now into like the more avant-garde comedies as a group?
I think the sitcom as we know it has died. I think it's avant-garde, and I think that's a better direction to move in.
For us, it's died. Do you think it's died for Joe Q. Public, moron at large?
No, but I
how did he get that job?
I think
I
Moran
was
at
in
large
the
still
running.
gets his sitcoms
I just
occasionally.
didn't make it to the third interview, but I was so close. So stupid people, sitcoms, do they still like them?
I still watch one.
I think there's still a few. There's a handful. I just don't think they're not going to be the prime like what's talked about anymore.
Well,
You know?
when let's define. Let's get down to brass tacks. Do you mean like 3-camera
Laugh track?
Laugh
yeah.
tracks.
Yeah,
That's what I was
dude.
picturing.
The Office
They
was
do
a
that
sitcom.
still.
Yeah.
So there are
Hey.
sitcoms still out there.
That's true. St. Dennis Medical, I guess, would count as a sitcom then because it's kind
Yeah.
of got a
Oh,
similar vibe, and I think that was fantastic. I guess I was thinking like Everybody Loves Raymond, which I think
Oh,
kinda-
No,
shots
I
fired.
mean, no,
Okay,
okay, hold on,
okay.
hold on there.
This is going to take about half an hour.
Shut the fuck up, Books.
Yeah,
That's an amazing show.
Books, do you realize at one point
Deborah.
they did carry the heaviest garbage, and you're still gonna shoot like that?
I still watch The Connors. I'm gonna
Okay.
see that one through.
Of course you do.
I dabbled in the Return of Frasier because I'm just a guy
Oh, yeah.
that loves Frasier. It was not good, but yeah, I think that those are there. Let's also keep in mind that the fact that we don't talk about a lot of 3-camera sitcoms is the same reason that we've been doing this show since Yellowstone came out, and it has never been on a bracket. There's
Yeah.
just there's other audiences out
Man,
there.
if I were if I were to say to you a CBS show, tell me if this is a real show or not on CBS, Ghosts.
That's
Yeah,
real.
The word
That's with,
word Ghosts.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I've,
what
I've seen an ad for that. Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
quite a few.
Okay, that has like some of our favorite comedic actors on it, but like I don't
I
feel
love
like
that they're
it's
getting
like
paid.
yeah, right. But like that has like I've seen like one episode and it
No.
like screams, this not for you. Like don't even watch this.
All right, well, I want to play this game. I'm going to make something up.
Okay.
Nate, this is for you.
Okay.
Bob Hart's Abishola.
Is that a real show, Nate?
I mean, that's a really tough and very convincing possible show, but I don't think it is a real one.
Abishola.
It's 100% real. It's like 6 seasons now.
Can I do one? Can I do one?
yeah.
Not a sitcom. FBI: CIA.
Dude, yeah. That's a real thing. That's on the Gas Pump Network. When you fill up your car, you see 15 seconds
I
of it,
prefer the
whether you want to
Chicago
or not.
spinoff of that franchise, though, because I feel like it's a little more gritty and down to earth, and, you know, the used guys are there.
A lot more sausage.
I mean, CBS are the kings and queens of, no, it is 1998 right now.
Yeah.
And they will have 3 hours of prime time for those people every night.
And you know what? Good for them. And good for us. We've got 1 hour-ish of primetime coverage for you here. When we come back, we're going to start getting into the bracket, because that's how we do things on this show. But before that, let's have a little bit of a play-in tournament. Wouldn't be a tournament if we didn't start it off with the tournament. All right, let's go. These ones are playing to try to get in. Some of our other ones have buys, but these ones have to fight for their very lives. And this first name may surprise you a little bit. So buckle up. Yes, Chef, it's season 3. And this is by the way, the number 16 seed, The Bear.
I'm not that surprised. Like, it was just hard to find a comedy to, like, you know, put below it. It's just,
Yeah.
beside the whole genre bending thing of it not being funny, and then
taking some of our funniest actors and just having them scream at each other.
You
make
guys
this
go
as tense as possible.
And then just being like, I did defend this season. I do think it's not as bad as everybody says, but it is clearly a step down from the other two.
Did other people skip it because of the review? The reviews were so tepid. I had like no interest in watching it, even though it was one of my favorite shows.
I enjoyed the season, but it feels like it's almost built more for the memes that have grown out of it subsequently and have been funny.
Oh, like the
than
NBA.
What it was. Like, it was very artful, but it just wasn't as memorable, and it didn't hit as hard. It felt like it was less, like it was trying to be more character focused in a lot of ways, and somehow became less engrossing on a character level.
Ryan, are we licking our plates clean, or are we sending this back?
I mean, I don't know. It was very good. It's of a high quality, but it was an incredible year.
But I think it's of a high quality because the acting, like it's not. It felt like it was written to get a reaction out of people and less to like stick with you.
Well, it will be going up. If that show makes you a little uncomfortable, it will be going up against number 17 seed Jared Carmichael's reality show. Mike.
Oh man, I'm a cringy guy. You've met me, like, as a person, just in what I'm into, how I am, unfortunately. And the shows I've enjoyed throughout my life are the same, but this is a knuckle biter. It is fucking hard to get through. I love
What
it.
about it, Mike? Like zero in on some. What's a detail?
Well, first of all,
is it the elder abuse that's rampant throughout the show?
No, I believe in that.
Or is it half of the star's last name?
Michael?
Yeah, is that what you're into?
Yeah, I don't like to see myself on screen so hard.
Car? Are you against cars?
It reminds you of your car.
And my car was stolen. It's a sore spot. It's you know
if
what? If
Mike created a transformer based on him, it'd be called Carmichael.
is he truly ruining his life for entertainment and because this is how he processes reality, or is it all an Andy Kaufman-esque show? I don't know, but the whole thing goes like, Gerard, why? Listen to your weird, tall, masked friend Bo Burnham. Shh, nobody knows it's Bo Burnham. Let's pretend like it's not Bo Burnham. Don't do this to yourself. And then he just keeps doing it. Him in therapy, in couples therapy with his newish boyfriend being like, I didn't cheat. And then the cameraman zooms in harder on his boyfriend. And this is now outside of the show stuff. So his boyfriend's like, so I knew he did. Because the camera guy got right in my face.
Wow.
It is wild.
I think it's great, and the reason why is because I'm choosing to read it as a metatextual sitcom. Every episode has a sitcom problem that is somehow sort of resolved within it, and it's just done in this like faux, artful, stagey comedy show mishmash thing. But it feels like authentically disingenuous in a way that when you're watching it, I was just like, literally no one would sign releases to let this footage exist if they weren't in on this. Like, his parents get so destroyed. And it's like, and it's not that I don't think they're great people, obviously. Like, they have a lot of bad views. Like, his mom's very against him being gay, and his dad's was the sort of serial cheater that had a Second Life family or whatever. Jesus. But they're in this letting him dress them down in a way that is just like, no, you would, if you had any self-respect and didn't want to be involved in this, you would be like, no, thank you. So it's got to be something else.
Do modern people have self-respect, though? Or are we all attentional sociopaths where we just, as long as we're getting attention, that's all that
we're
matters
all on this
to
podcast,
us.
so you tell me.
It's attention, but it's also, Gerard's been doing this his whole life. So I think his family is very used to having to, if they want to deal with him, it is through the lens and barrier of a camera. Like, he has
Mike,
been like this since he was a kid.
I'm quoting you here, and you're saying that he is the Bam Margera of our generation?
I was just going to say, I mean, Phil and Mom Bam. Kathy did it, too. Like, if you want to talk to your kid, humiliate yourself a little, good parents.
Well, we have to take it to a vote. What is it going to be? Number 16, The Bear, or number 17, Gerard Carmichael's reality show? Mike, what do you say?
Gerard Carmichael in the first episode has the funniest line of the year in anything, and it's Tyler, the Creator. Gerard, expresses his love for his best friend, his true romantic love, via text, and he says, "Ha ha ha, you bitch." And that is how anytime somebody says "I love you" this year, that is what I say. It is the best thing, and it's stuck in my head. That is my vote.
Nate, what do you say?
Yeah, I vote for Gerard Carmichael also. I thought it was at least like challenging. It wasn't comfortable, but it had lessons in it, I think, too, that are kind of interesting. So that's my pick.
Books?
It's well known that I hate cringe. Cringe
That's
is
true.
my enemy. But I just don't think The Bear lived up to what its potential is this season. So I don't think The Bear gets my vote. Gerard Carmichael gets my vote.
Ryan, is it a clean sweep?
I mean, that's the weird thing about TV brackets is that, we love the new, but also The Bear revolutionized TV in a way. When it sort of stopped revolutionizing TV, it's going to lose to the thing that moved TV forward in a little bit. So I'm going to go with Gerard as well.
All right, congratulations. Our next matchup is number 13, Shrinking. Who saw number 13 Shrinking along with me? I did. Ryan, what did you think of season 2 Shrinking?
Oh, buddy, I hated every second of this.
I know. I got the feeling via the text that you were like, you know what? This show sucks, and I'm mad at it.
We have so many shows on our bracket that, just bring the authenticity, and we were just talking about Gerard and The Bear, and there's so many other shows that we're going to bring that are like, I'm going to put myself out there, and Shrinking, that to me is so much cringier than anything that happens in Gerard's show.
Yeah.
Just because of the writing?
The writing and the acting, and it's so overdone, and it's so fucking self-appreciatively smug about what we're doing. It's such... Everybody's so
it thinks it's way wittier than it really is,
and and we're changing lives and families and therapy, and I got through the first season and I appreciated it mostly because of
Harrison Ford.
That's how you say it, Harrison Ford. This one he is not enough to. Pull me through.
He's so grumpy. But the season 2, it's like, man, I'm getting a little tired of this guy just always being grumpy. Like, that is such a good way to go. To be grumpy all the time, because then you're genuine for one moment and everyone's like, wow, that was really magical. Screw that.
For me, it's mostly Jason Segel, who we've known each other since we were both 17, and I've watched him grow up, and I've watched him go through all of his partying and then sort of get away from all of those friends that he grew up with. And people like that are always so
yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Jason Segel.
And it is going up against number 20, My Lady Jane. I saw all of the show, My Lady Jane. It's a historical fiction. It imagines what the life of Jane Seymour might have been like, and also imagines
Dr. Quinn?
What would court politics
Diamonds?
be like if there was also a group of people that could shapeshift into animals, and some of them did it involuntarily? And so, a lot like Wicked, they're like, who are these animal people, and let's get rid of them. It is hot. It's a lot about boning and people wanting to. There's a lot of yearning.
How much human animal or human half animal boning is there?
It is on the periphery of everything. It's very much
put it in the periphery.
The Jane Seymour actress and the guy and her boyfriend involuntarily turns into a horse, and I feel like that just sort of hangs about all the time without anybody. Yeah. Until it gets cold and then it kind of zoops up into the body. But it was actually very funny. It's a ridiculous show, and then also it tries to pull on the heartstrings a lot. But it's fresh and interesting. And I'll tell you, this current generation, they don't like sex. And that's kind of a bummer.
Well, with two humans.
But they do like yearning. And I think that it's kind of fun, how much yearning is in modern stuff. I
wish they do less yearning and more earning. Guys, get a job.
Maybe a little more gurning. Try to do some drugs.
Were you guys, when you were kids, were you Lady Jane or Scarlet?
I was definitely Scarlet.
Yeah.
O'Hara?
Yeah.
No, from the G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
From the G.I. Joes.
Skeletor.
G.I. Joe kind of did something a little brave, and they're like, you know what? We're going to have 30 dudes and 3 women.
Right.
Yeah.
A step above the Smurfs.
Instead of the Smurfs, where there's just one that's a girl, and you're like, what's going on here? But
we would never do that on this show. Only have one girl.
No. We also kicked her off the show. Get out of here, Books. No one wants to hear your opinion of My Lady Jane. So what's it going to be, fellas? Number 13, Shrinking versus 20 seed My Lady Jane. Mike?
My Lady Jane.
Nate?
I got to go for that horse cock. Yeah, My Lady Jane.
Ryan?
Nate's going to say that for every question you ask him, but yeah, it's My Lady Jane.
Honestly, I do think it's My Lady Jane. Shrinking, just, I don't know. Yeah, there's a smugness to it. We don't like it anymore. Our next matchup starts with number 15 seed. I cannot believe how low this is. Number 15 seed, We Are Lady Parts. Ryan, for some reason, I imagine you're someone who knows a thing or two about lady parts.
I do, Greg. Not as much about horsecock. I'm more, I study the lady parts and their music because they're punk rockers.
Yes.
It's an awesome band of Muslim women who finally came back for a second season this year. I think it was like a 4-year layoff. That's another trend of like, they will just make us wait forever.
Yeah, 4 years, then you get 6 episodes. Damn.
I watched the first season of Severance when I was 6 years old in the early 80s, and I'm so glad it's back. But no, this is just a incredible show that is so... I love how chill it is with its characters, and will give them as much space as possible with putting their messages, you know, in on the foreground of the characters' minds, but not on the foreground of the audience's minds.
Yes.
You know, and not like try to jam stuff into your temple, but like they're going through shit, and it's different than what you might be going through. But if you're not a woman or Muslim, but completely relatable the entire time. And we get some songs. We have little videos.
We do.
We got a great Britney Spears cover.
Uh-huh.
That was a real joy. And yeah, to the point of these very human level conflicts, like I don't know any of the characters' names because this was one of the things that I watched a while back, but there's the one band member who I think is kind of like the geekier one who's the singer, and she's kind of sweet on a guy, but or vice versa. There's a weird thing, but
a little bit of a love triangle this season.
Yeah, we're dealing with a love triangle that's dealing with some culture-centric issues and also concerns about like what counts as modesty and what doesn't count as modesty being a Muslim woman. And it was really heartfelt and very entertaining in like a fun sort of aware slapsticky way a lot. And I just loved it. It was really fun to connect to.
The whole show, but like it rests on Amina is like, what if we're sometimes Muppets? Like what she can do with her face and eyes and just being like, I will Mr. Bean the fuck out of this scene. She crushes it.
And I mean, speaking of Muppets too, like they both Lady Parts, the band, and Muppets, the whole entourage, they do this thing of like, these are not songs that are going to blow you away.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, these are kind of the songs that we all wrote in high school or after high school.
Yeah,
you know?
for
Like,
sure.
I'm rooting for them. Mm-hmm. I love, they're catchy, but they're not. You know, this is not Studio 60. Like, we have created the greatest skits. It's not 30 Rock either, but it's somewhere in the middle of like, no, these are just songs.
A big part of this.
The first season, the songs I'd go back to and listen to like they're real songs. This season, it's like, okay, you wrote those for your characters. Cool.
Yeah, this season is about them sort of evolving as a band and deciding what they want to be and what they do not want to be.
I think Amina is the main character, but I think that the show sort of made it seem like it was Syra. And I think the second season did a great job of fleshing her out by making her flesh herself out. She sort of realized that she was too punk rock. She's too closed off.
Yeah.
And so then she meets some idols and then tries to decide, are they my idols? You know? Just an incredible ensemble.
It did such a good job at, I was so fucking annoyed with Syra through so much of this season. Like, you idiot asshole are ruining everything that your closest friends worked for. But it's great.
And we've never had a punk rock friend like that.
No, it was a very realistic, rounded thing, and like the sea of goofiness that this show could be.
And that is squaring off against number 18 seed, How to Die Alone. Ryan, tell us all about How to Die Alone.
This is fucking bullshit. This is the fact that Shrinking and My Lady Jane have to go against each other. Nate, did you watch this?
Yes. It's one of the last things I watched, so it's like fresh on my brain, and
same.
It's probably one of the things that connected most with me. And I think I felt like when I was putting together kind of my list of the shows for this year, I found that I was connecting a lot with things that were sort of tapping into midlife, mortality, thinking about these things, choices. This show is so simple but clever, and every character is, it's pitch perfect throughout. Anna Kendrick is not in it, but it's still pitch perfect. And I loved it from the first episode. Like, anytime you can do a first episode that does what this does, where it's like a character is living a fairly boring sitcom-y sort of life, goes through a near-death experience, meets someone important, and then you can whisk all of that away and get a real emotional reaction from me, where I'm like, I only heard from this character for 30 seconds, and I feel moved and sad and wanting to change my life. It was so good, and it just keeps getting better.
But also in that first episode, with all of those pathos that Nate is describing, is a scene where somebody, her best friend's like, Adele, or who's at the airport? Lizzo's at the airport, get on, and then we have like a full 90s, driving in the car sort of montage, like
she's like, I'm doing something bad. I love that.
But like, yeah, how she can be so open and honest, and then also this like all these borderline skits throughout her show. I found amazing. Yeah.
And that's perfect because it's Natasha Rothwell, right? Who
yes.
came up writer for SNL, Black Lady Sketch Show, then Insecure.
Kelly on Insecure.
It's awesome to watch somebody take their background and be like, I'm not losing my sketch skills. I'm going to inject it, and that's going to help make this normal TV show feel different.
We might talk about something like that later, but yeah, on Insecure, a very funny show. If she walked in the room, everybody else get the fuck out.
Yeah, shut up. Let Kelly rant for a second.
It's just such a whole piece. Like, it feels auteuristic in that it's like,
that's it.
She knows what she's doing, and she's laying it all out there. And it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, it's a short season, but it's a complete arc, and it's beautiful. So I'm stoked.
Also, very funny name of show and name of pilot combo. The show is called How to Die Alone, and the pilot's called Stop Living.
And she works at an airport, which is full of pilots.
Very true, very true. All right, so what is it going to be? We Are Lady Parts or How to Die Alone? Ryan.
Fuck you, Greg, for asking me this.
Yeah, I thought we should start with you right at the tap.
And I think I'm going to have to go with How to Die Alone.
Nate.
Yeah, I got to go with How to Die Alone, too.
Mike.
Despite Ryan's shirt, which is clearly a fan of Lady Parts, he chose the other one. My vote is also How to Die Alone.
All right. Books. Decide between We Are Lady Parts and How to Die Alone. How to Die Alone looks like it's going to be a clean sweep.
I was going to say, I think regardless of my vote, there's a clear winner, but I'm just going to add to it. I'm going to pile it on. How to Die Alone gets my vote.
All right. How to Die Alone moves on. Our last matchup of the play-in round is number 14 seed Bobby's Burgers, and it's like 14th season, I want to say, versus number 19 seed Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay, wow. Oldies.
Wow. So it is a couple of the oldies going at each other. Ryan, between these two, which show still has the magic?
I mean, Bob's Burgers is such a fucking go-to classic, but this is the final season of Curb. I don't know if it's ever been in a bracket before because it takes giant gaps in between seasons. And this one was phenomenal. You do have to find Larry David funny,
yes,
which I know is like a speed bump for some people. But this one, it was an incredible season of Larry David mishaps, but every once in a while somebody would bring up, oh, man, that sucks. Like that Seinfeld finale to him, and then he would have to defend it.
Wow.
And then we get to the last episode, which is basically a remake of the Seinfeld finale. He just did it again because go fuck
Hell
yourself.
Yeah, get it.
And he just brings all of the people from the past into the courtroom. He ends up in jail.
That's so ballsy.
I loved every part of it. I would say that this is the strongest of maybe the last 3 seasons. Like,
okay.
I really do feel like, not that it was coasting in the last 2, but this one definitely was not. Everybody was on their A game. It was also, the last of Super Dave, who probably has a different name, and Richard Lewis died halfway through the season. I don't know if Bob's Burgers had anybody die in the season. I think they just went to jail and then were released because of J6. But
was his character still on the show?
In Bob's Burgers?
Richard Lewis, after he died, was he still on the show?
Yeah, he did one more episode.
Really?
Yeah.
He's such a pro.
And Super Dave was on too.
He
looked
dead.
Bob
I would say at least the last season, anyway.
Yeah, he's been old. They've all been old for a while. So I do believe that when he says this is the last season, it's like It's not like Friends where they want to go do other stuff. They're just all dead.
That's why we're going to be young forever because they're old forever.
Yeah, man, that generation, they just like stay in the saddle until they fucking turn to dust. Mike, if I said to you Bob's Burgers had its best episode of all time just this season, would you believe me?
Yeah, they don't lose miles on their curveball. I understand sports. So yeah, I would be like, wow, that's awesome. And they've not jumped the shark. They don't let their kids grow. But they can still make amazing, hilarious, just the world they fleshed out. Yeah, I totally get it. What was their best episode?
There are three top Bob's Burgers episodes in this season.
Okay.
There's the Tina and Louise episode.
Yeah, where they learn about being sisters. It goes over their whole life. That is a piece of art, dude.
And all of the beautiful, like, hand-drawn little comic book interstitials that show them separating and coming back together. The weird dollhouse murder mystery that is just to talk about how Gene's a good kid, which was the most moving thing. Is it's like your sister saw that you were a good man and you didn't make fun of your teacher's camel toe when the rest of the other kids were, and that was so moving to her that she couldn't express it in any other way but an elaborate dollhouse murder mystery story. And then the talent show is one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I love those kinds of ensemble, stagey things, but they put a talent show on in the burger restaurant. The one lady sings a cover of that Seabird song that I have only started hearing recently and Shazamming a lot because it seems like it's just on satellite radio or something.
Nate, you have to Shazam it the one time. You have to do it.
Well, I forget after every Shazam, so I have to re-Shazam it.
Well, I love that impassioned plea for Bobby's Burgers. Let's go around the horn. Mike, what's it going to be? Bob's Burgers or Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I'm a sucker for finales. I'll go Curb.
All right. Ryan, what do you say?
It's Curb, baby.
Books?
I'm gonna be the opposite here. I'm gonna go with Bob.
All right, Nate.
Yeah, I gotta go with Bobby too.
It's this just so shit. Good. Tie vote goes to me. It's Bob Burger, bitch. All right. Now all those are gonna get simply destroyed in the next round. But before we do that, let's take what one panelist has called the quickest of breaks. All right, listeners, we are in the meat of it, the thick of it, the thick meat of it. Here we go. Whoa. Our number one seed, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the show based on the movie of the same name, starring Donald Glover and that one 8th grader from the middle school show. What's her name? Mina?
Friday Night Lights.
Erskine?
Yes. Maya
Erskine?
Maya Erskine,
yeah. This is
and
what
15.
This is what we do, people. We remake stuff that didn't work.
Yeah.
Although there's been some reclamation of that movie. No. I don't buy it.
Only, and I can't stand behind this, but even as a dumb kid who thought everything was great, the only part of the movie I liked was Vince Vaughn talking fast while trying to shoot people.
He's like, hey, Brad Pitt, let's go to a swinger club.
But how about the show? What do we think of the show? What do we think about the chemistry between the two leads?
They, you know how everybody was so dumb when Bradley and Stephanie played that great song on, that's what I call Cooper and Gaga, on the Oscars.
Stephanie, yes.
And they're like, they're not actors. No, there's no way Maya and Donald aren't cheating on their spouses and families with each other. Man, do these kids crackle.
Until they don't, right?
Until they don't, and that's hot too.
Yeah.
But they know how to crackle in that way, though.
Yes.
I will always remember this one scene where they are walking from the therapist's office, which is probably my episode of the season.
The therapy one.
Yeah, with from Studio 60.
The therapy lady.
The therapy lady. And they're just walking to the car, and they're sort of like trying to get back their juju after
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson, thank you.
Her name was Sarah Paulson.
I will repeat that all night and remember that.
In brackets, we have names.
She did the couples therapy thing of, making them enemies against each other, and then they were walking back.
But also, she clearly sides with one of them, which I assume in couples therapy, that's what happens. I'm in a happy couple, so we don't need therapy. But where the therapist just totally sides with one of them against the other one.
Well, one person's always right, so.
And she wants to bang Donald Glover, but they're trying to come back together in this conversation, and that's the chemistry I'm talking about. Of we're doing 4 different layers, including assassins, at the same time of a relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The world building on this show is really excellent too, and that's the thing. It's like the acting is good. I mean, you get like the Parker Posey and her male counterpart appearances are so well distributed.
Better Call Saul? Is that the guy
as well?
Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, but
I think it's a different fella, but he gives off a similar vibe, certainly.
But there's just like it's a perfect balance of how we keep it on character, but also we know that there's high. We know there's this whole thing. We don't know how it works or
they
why
don't
it
even
works,
seem to know how
or
it
what's going.
works.
Yeah, and we don't have to because we're just caught up in this wild like romance, action, comedy, mystery, thriller that is happening and unrolling in different ways every single episode. The only thing that's wrong with it is that a cat is killed, and I don't like that. I'm over it.
Oh,
I don't
no,
want
is
to see
this
pets
Chernobyl?
die.
A
over
Chernobyl
again?
Part 2.
That's
They
why
are-
everybody hates dramas in this place.
They are killers, though. Like,
Yeah.
they, like, shoot innocent people that just happen to witness what happens, and they don't, like, they, like, get a little down in the mouth about it. But they basically manage to just do that without questioning themselves too much. This one is going up against the Jared Carmichael's reality show, which made it through the last round. Does anybody feel like there's a chance that the Jared Michael reality show has something this doesn't?
I'll say it is a singular vision doing, even this late in television's decrepit history, new things. Worth a watch, for sure. But come
Do you guys real quick though? Do you guys think that we're in this era now of like we made a season of a thing, like Beef, and it was a hit, so we have to make another one. So it's all anthology. Are you guys nervous about a season 2 that doesn't have Donald and Maya?
But Donald's still the brain behind it all.
Yeah, I would be
And-
way more nervous about another season that did have them, to be honest, because I feel like so much of the time we are shitting on the second and third seasons of these shows. I think going the anthology
See the
route
bear.
gives you a chance to mix it up enough to where we don't get
Yeah.
tired of it. All right, well, I'm going to put it to a vote, gentlemen and ladies. Let's start with you, Books. What's it going to be for you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Jared Carmichael?
It's going to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Mike, what do you think?
Yes, the Smiths.
Ryan?
Same.
Nate?
I was looking for a show, and I found a show, and heaven knows I'm happier now. It's Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
All right, excellent. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is moving on. Jared Carmichael, you know what? Some people said some nice things about you, and that's what always makes a good day for me.
Not on our episode about poor things, but in this one,
No.
yes.
Yes. Oh, man. You were so bad in that, my dude. You were so bad in that.
He's so bad at that is every time Ryan and I are talking about like anything pleasant and how this guy might be good, he has to fucking bring that up. I don't bring up every fucked up thing Ryan has done. Let it go.
That's not true, though. Good joke, but that's not true.
All right.
Remember
Our
the time,
number,
Ryan? Okay, we got to move on.
Our number 6 seed is a man on the inside. Ryan, tell us a little bit about Michael Schur's Man on the Inside.
Anytime Michael makes a show, I'm like, sure.
I'm
because
sure to watch it, right?
the floor is so high and the ceiling is in outer space. Ted Danson, also incredible, but he was on a show called Mr. Mayor, which I liked but wasn't unbelievable recently.
And he was on a show called Becker, which you made sure you caught every episode of. Is that
Becker
true?
ruled.
Every time I see somebody, hear somebody say Cheers, I say Becker instead
Yeah.
because that's the Danson show. But this show is based on a documentary that I've seen about a crazy story about a spy that got sent into a retirement home.
This is a real story?
Oh yeah, based on a true story.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's in Spain or Mexico. I can't remember which.
I don't
But
remember
yes,
either.
San
I
Francisco.
saw this also.
It's one of those things that has to be a real story, right? Otherwise, the show would just be too unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's a
Like
good
Miss
point.
American Life episode.
but yeah, I mean, like, I couldn't believe how they took this little premise and said, "Oh, we can do the world with this." You
And
know?
it becomes a meditation on aging and on what happens to people who enter cognitive decline, which is not something I necessarily want to encounter when I'm trying to like unplug from my day of like dealing with my parents aging.
like when the people who
But-
worked at Superstore wore COVID masks.
Yes,
Don't do that.
yeah. And at first you were like, "Oh, that's cool," and then you were like, "Dude, I just want to not think
Yeah.
about this for 10 seconds if I could." But I thought it was a very poignant meditation on that. And Ted Danson still fucking has it, and he's still the handsomest man.
He's incredibly sort of ageless, timeless. Like it's strange that you look at him in this and you're like, oh, it's basically. I mean, he is the same person from The Good Place and previous things, but he doesn't seem like he's aged. He seems like he's just like he's paused, and everything else is moving around him.
Yes, that's going up against our number 9 seed, Girls 5 Eva. What turned out to be still now the final season of Girls 5 Eva. Mike, is it going to be easy for you to deal with the fact that the show's had its swan song?
I refuse to believe it. Just like the Girls 5 Eva went away for 20 years and then came back for a great world tour, or, throughout sort of the South before they hit Rockefeller Center. I think the show Girls 5 Eva will also come back in 20 years. That's the hope I hold.
It should come back. Ryan, what are they waiting? 5?
I appreciate the legitimate question, Greg, and I will say that what they're waiting for is this is the only show to ever be picked up by Netflix and have people continue to not watch.
Yeah,
and I don't understand that everybody's like, "Oh, Suits? Oh, let's watch more Suits."
It was a good fucking season too.
It's so fucking funny.
It was really good. Yeah,
for this cartoon to have character development, to be able to turn Renee Goldsberry to be able to turn her character even human at all is insane. It's such a fucking stacked cast. Are people down on Faye Carlock style comedy now?
It's a middle-aged woman centric show. So even though it's hilarious, even though it doesn't honestly only talk about that one issue, even though Renee Goldberry is the hottest woman to ever live and is so funny, and this is the perfect role for her, it's about ladies and about the issues that middle-aged ladies care about. And so you have to stop canceling shows that have Paula Pell on
yes
them. You have to stop doing that, or better yet, design a show around Paula Pell. But why won't they? Because she's an over-the-hill queer woman, and so they're just not going to do it, even though she's one of the most.
Are you the funniest person to ever live? Fuck
yes.
off.
Yeah. You're the funniest part of all the very funny shows you've been on. Oh, man, I wish you were 27 and male and a brunette, because that's another thing. Is her hair's the wrong color.
Paula Pella is the Fishbone of my youth.
Uh-huh.
In that, I want to say Fishbone. In that every band that I liked, when they said what is their favorite band, every comedian that you are in love with, they always say, but Paula Pella is the funniest person
the difference
I've ever met.
Between Pell and Fishbone is when you go to get into Pell, you're going to be like, I get this. Suck it, Fishbone.
I noticed. Fishbone sucks. I noticed a thing though with these shows, and they're not all Faye Carlock, but they're in that family tree. With Wiki, Renee Elise Goldberry.
Thank you. I cannot remember her name.
Just go to Wikipedia. And Titus and Liz Lemon. The point of the show is to finally just say nah, blue collar guys. That's where it's at. You just gotta you're gonna be smart and funny forever. You just gotta hook up with a blue collar guy.
Somebody will balance you out.
Yeah.
All right. So what's it gonna be? Books, A Man on the Inside, or Girls 5 Eva?
I was a little torn on this one, but hearing the hype from Mike and Ryan, I think I'm gonna have to go with Girls 5 Eva.
Nate, what do you think?
Ooh. Yeah.
This is what Nate's at a donut store.
Hey.
Yeah. What do you guys normally make? And how do you order here?
Just give me a normal group of donuts, please. I'm just gonna stand here and stare off into
just
space.
a murder of donuts, whatever.
Am
whatever
I the president
you like.
yet?
I really like Man on the Inside. Just really hit me where I needed it, so I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Mike.
The funniest show in history that nobody outside of this group has ever watched. Girls 5 Eva is my vote.
Ryan.
I want to real quick point out John Getz on A Man on the Inside, who plays the angry cigar smoking boomer, and to have Ted Danson go against him, who nobody his age has ever acted like, go against somebody who everyone his age actually acts like. That was my favorite part of the show, but it's Girls 5 Eva.
Yeah. Girls 5 Eva. Congratulations. Please, somebody bring this show back. I promise I'll watch it and we'll all rave about it. Right?
Gas Station Channel?
GSC? Gas Station Channel.
I'm sick of your bullshit, Gas Station Channel.
I just put all my money in Quibi, and so hopefully maybe Quibi can pick it up.
It's a quick bite.
divested from CISO?
Yeah, I got out of CISO, man. I took all my money out of Tubi and I put it all in free.
Oh,
See,
that's a bad idea.
something.
Tubi is.
Yeah. Well, this is not an investment podcast.
It isn't?
Our number 4 seed. Another one of these shows that is like unbelievably good and probably nobody knows what we're talking about. Somebody Somewhere.
Stop me.
Bridget Everett's very heartfelt queer comedy. I saw Somebody Somewhere. This show is guaranteed to make you absolutely laugh out loud and choke up from not even really sadness, but from like, life is so beautiful, man.
Life is just real, buddy.
Even though it's so hard. This is one of those shows that basically was brought to a conclusion at the end of this season, and it doesn't feel like there's much of a door open to keep going. It continues the story of these sisters trying to like find some way to be together, even though they don't like each other, and some way for the main character to let herself be happy and actually like see some sort of like hope in the world.
I think it's a very existential show.
Yes.
And that was what I enjoyed about it, because it's being funny in a way that felt very improvisational and not like stage improv, but like everybody's just sort of, we're just going to, what would you do in this situation? And let's run through it.
Like a Linklater show.
Key at it. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
When you say comic, that's Bridget Everett. And the fact that she escaped from that, thanks to Amy Schumer, who literally gave her the last episode of each of her shows, each season of her show, she would give this woman the last episode, and she managed to parlay it into this show, which is just, it is achingly beautiful. Like there's no show that will make you feel as good, and it's very queer positive, and also one thing that's nice about it, it's about romance, but it's about how the most important person in your life might not be the person that you're in a romantic relationship with. It might be one of your friends. Like that might be your person.
Everyone looks around.
And it takes place in the most unsung and best version of Manhattan that exists in this country.
Yes. So. Manhattan, what is it? Manhattan, Iowa?
It's Kansas, yeah.
Manhattan,
I will say,
it's where K-State
Somebody
is.
Somewhere and this writer Liz Lenz are doing great work for being like, hey, coastal elites, fuck you. Middle America has great people and great things going on. And I refuse to believe them.
Yeah, it really does that though. It makes a point of being like, nobody's irredeemable. Yeah. You know, we are all somebody somewhere. Huh.
Mac, did you dabble in the show?
I did, and I think like it was kind of touched on, but there's just so much with comedy and even drama. There's like this attempt to be like so about real life that somehow they become very surreal. This show just feels like real life, but I think that's what made it like the tears and the laughter so deep. Yeah, I did dabble in the show, and I almost didn't. I feel like no one talked about the show, and it just kind of felt like a middle state to me. Like, why would I visit it? Why would I watch it?
Yeah,
it was a
one of those
flyover
surf over programs.
Yes.
Yeah, I to me, like, this is the opposite of Shrinking. This is like put it all on the stage. I wasn't the biggest fan of Bridget Everett as a comedian because it was so much, and this is her just, you know, it's not just like the taking off the makeup, but what taking off the makeup does. The show that this reminds me of the most is a old school classic called Rectify, which tone is very different. Like, that is a hardcore drama, but it is almost plotless, and we're just gonna let our Midwestern characters breathe in this moment. That I think that I do think that it's highly scripted. I don't think that it's not like Curb where it's like a 6-page script, but it feels that not because they're yes-anding each other, but because the conversations feel so real. If you're funny in this show, other characters are laughing.
Yeah.
And that alone is just such a weird wave to come over you, you know, where it's not like Chandler cracking jokes, but nobody cares. Like, these people are so just like go through these things together where there's no reset. There's nothing crazy that happens in any episode, but there's no reset button at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
They did go through that thing. Outside of Rectify, I don't know if I've ever seen a show like this.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine that it's gone, but also it's never going to like sink into mediocrity, and so there's a certain beauty to that. It's going up against number 27, or rather our number 27 our number 20 seed, My Lady Jane. Books, is there anything you want to say about My Lady Jane? We kind of like talked about it earlier. It moved on. What were your thoughts?
This was a show that like initially when it came out, it was on my radar, and then it dropped off, and then I gave it a chance. Middle of the night, couldn't sleep, needed to watch something.
Yes.
I think it had merit. I don't think it's the most brilliant thing that came out in the world, but I think it had more merit. I don't think it necessarily deserved to be canceled. I like the twist of like, what if we just put fantasy in this historical retelling? Because why the fuck not? But I do think it tried to do a little too many things, because it was retelling or reimagining history and then throwing some fantasy elements in there.
Yeah, but so they gave themselves a lot of work with that.
Exactly. They did put a lot of work into it. But yeah, I think it was fun. I think it had some good moments in it. I think it's worth checking out, but I don't think it's the best comedy of 2024.
Would you vote for it over Somebody Somewhere?
No.
Nate, what do you say?
That was the most genuine vote.
Yeah, right. Like, I loved My Lady Jane, but I do think it's like it's one of those shows where they purposely made it like you could be looking at your phone while it's on. Like it's not a piece of art like Somebody Somewhere.
Yeah, and I also think they kind of did that intentionally so they didn't have to do as much work.
Yeah.
I don't want to make.
I mean, I do feel like that's the new directive. Is like,
oh yeah,
we should script shows slowly so people can be on TikTok.
Man, as you watch a lot of these shows to get a sample of them, there are shows where characters are almost constantly saying expository lines just to remind you of how the plot is advancing. It's like watching Dora the Explorer or something. It's like, now we're going to go over the Happy Bridge. Okay, do you remember that? Here we are. We're on the bridge.
Legit, a memo came out from Netflix. They said your characters have to say what they're doing because we want people to be on their phones, which doesn't feel like what we want. Make something so good
we want people
put their
on
phones down.
We want people on their phones watching a different Netflix show at the same time.
Well, that's why Netflix is getting into gaming. Legit.
Nate, now that we've said all that, which do you think should go on? Somebody Somewhere?
Yes. Somebody Somewhere is really one of the better things that I watched out of this list. I wouldn't have known about it had I not agreed to be on this podcast, and I binged the whole thing and was just astonished at how, like, it kind of reminds me of the movie Nebraska in a way. Like, there's a certain, like, it's expansive. There's room to breathe. There's also just real people and real quiet, and it's just, I don't know, it's refreshingly tender in a way that a lot of TV isn't.
Mike?
Somebody Somewhere.
Ryan?
I also have to give it up to Bridget Everett's character's sister. I wish I had her name on hand, but who started off so annoying on purpose, and then as they grew, I grew with the sister.
Yeah.
Like, it's Somebody Somewhere.
Me too. I'm annoying
shout
on
out to
purpose.
Steve. Shout out to Steve Coogan on My Lady Jane, just absolutely selling out, doing the best job he possibly can to bring home this really mediocre show. When we come back, the battles continue, and the jokes only get funnier. Our next show is something. It's number 5 seed, Phantasmus. Nate, what do you have to say about Phantasmus?
What a delightful surrealist romp through every possible thing that you could imagine happening. There's like little alien creatures walking around, and there's being a sort of vaguely narcissistic creative type who is also maybe magical and superpowered. This was one of the first things I watched, so my memory is less clear about everything, and it's also not a literal sort of show in a way that you would talk about it in all ways, but
what's his name? Julio Torres?
Yeah, we were talking about auteur shows, and typically we're talking about like this is my life, but it's not, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to use the term auteur shows instead of, oh, you made a Louis.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how we talk from now on.
Yeah.
This is auteur in a different way.
I loved Los Spookies when that was on, and this is just that energy cranked up more. It's really it's wonderful. It's so good.
It felt like, what if Brazil the film and Mishima: A Life in 4 Parts the film smashed together through the lens of Julio Torres. It is fucking insane and gorgeous and like one of those comedy Is it? But it sure is fucking art.
I mean, I will point you to the Elf sketch and say, with Paul Dano, star of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and say, yeah, there's probably some comedy going on.
And then, of course, it stars, what's his friend's character name? Vanessa or Vanessa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She rules, dude. She is bringing so much energy and life to this show. A show that like is suffused with his style of comedy. I mean, the universe is basically like as he would have it in this show. But she is, I thought, the thing that really is like the most arresting element of it.
And I mean, I can't believe the difference between Julio Torres, the on-screen persona, which would just as soon like literally not look at you and just be on his phone, even if it's just like scrolling screens back and forth. The lack of ambition, to Julio Torres, the off-screen persona, which must have an abundance of ambition.
Never stop grinding and hustling. Yeah, and then of course, I'm just a sucker for a little blue Bebo. Can my heart take another Bebo? I think so.
That's the robot friend.
That's the robot
his
friend.
shitty assistant,
who then like decides that they want to be an actor, and so they start taking acting roles, and they're not good at it because they're a robot.
I believe Bebo is also, or it might be Vanessa, who introduces him to his social media person, Pumpalumpanopoulos.
yes, dude. The little like Smurf figurine, and then it's like they go and they live with somebody else, and they end up hooking up with him. Man, what a great show!
Props to the taxi or the Uber driver, whose name I can't remember.
Chester.
But
Oh shit, that person's so fucking funny.
He gets caught in a
Holy
weird Uber.
cow.
Now this is just one of the cast.
Yeah. There's just and the person, it's just the person has an app, and they're like, instead of using Uber, just use an Esther, and then I will come. And that person's so funny and so good. Okay, that is going up against a show number 12 seed Conan O'Brien and what Ryan?
He must go, which I
go.
just thought about. How this is the opposite of his movie. Conan O'Brien won't stop.
Yes.
Now he must go. Can't stop. Now he must go.
Won't stop. Does stop. What does he do on
it-
this show? Like, what's the gist?
Mike?
It's his An Idiot Abroad. It's his travel show.
Okay.
It worked for
Anthony
other
Bourdain.
guys. But what if we took
He goes to different places and doesn't have fun there, and talks about how these fun things are not fun.
No, or he finds weirdos and he goes, what if I make this
man.
weirdo famous for a day? He has a lot of fun with drones and makes drone cameras do crazy things you've not seen drone cameras do. It becomes his best friend in one episode.
Okay.
It is just, what if we took the funniest human being who has ever lived and sent him to countries he's not familiar with?
If you're only gonna watch one scene, I would say the and I can't even remember the country, but the mall, the water mall, where he's in the boat shopping at stores, and just buying whatever he sees. He buys a giant hat and has to wear that. Buys a giant dildo, and then as soon as he buys it, a boat only of kids floats right by.
Oh.
Which you know he hired.
As a longtime listener of the podcast, Conan O'Brien, he started Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and then he's has Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan. And so these would be fans calling in. And it was clearly just a birthday cake to hold as many commercial candles as possible.
Okay.
But these fans would call in, and he would say at the end, very genuinely, I hope our paths cross. And then it sort of feels like he made that happen because every episode starts with him knocking on a door, and the fan from the podcast that I listen to does not know he's coming.
Yeah.
Wow.
And being like, what the fuck?
I know we don't trust reality shows, but these weird fans, there's no way they can all act this well. It is
No.
the Swedish like musician DJ, like for a man so swallowed under 1,000 layers of irony, how sincerely he is trying to make connections and like have people touch his life is gorgeous.
And it's fascinating because he can't, right? And
No,
like
he's broken.
I don't relate to this at all, but like he'll be like, I love you, and then the other person will be like, I love you too, and he'll be like, fuck you. Fucking idiot.
I can't imagine a weird, tall, pale redhead acting like that.
All right. So what do you think, Ryan? What's it going to be? Number 5, Phantasmus, or number 12, Conan O'Brien?
I mean, like he is my, he's my everything. Conan is, but Phantasmus is just like a once in a lifetime kind of show.
What do you say, Books?
I gotta go with Bebo. Bebo
Yeah,
2.0. Bebo 2.0 is the little Bebo.
Let's
Phantasmus.
go, Bebo. Nate?
Yeah, I love big swings, and I love that it's called Phantasmas, even though they try not to let him have the S at the very beginning of the show.
Even if you don't find Julio Torres funny, which means you're not going to like the show, you have to appreciate the swing.
Yes.
This is for the fences.
Mike, do you agree as a clean sweep?
No, I'm going to stick to my guns. I came in knowing what I was going to do with Conan, and even though you've all made compelling arguments, I'll be wrong and vote for Conan.
All right. Well, Phantasmas is moving on, despite what Mike just said.
I look like an idiot.
Look like a Conan.
Our number 2 seed is the first season of the show English Teacher, about, I assume, an Englishman. Nate, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on English Teacher.
I like that this has, again, that kind of auteur energy to it. It is well-worn territory. We're going to talk about another teacher's show, workplace comedy kind of thing. We've all seen shows about being the sort of counterpoint to the establishment energy of a school and trying to reach those kids and all that kind of stuff. But this show has like a specific contemporary sort of grounding that doesn't feel fake. It really like talks about stuff that comes up socially and politically and everything right now in 2024, 2025, but doesn't feel ham-handed about it.
I think
I really appreciate that.
I think that's such an important part of the show is because this show needs to be 2024 always explodes in your face. And this show to just take place in 2024, not prove it to anybody, but just simply be in that year. I will hearken back to, I think, one of the scenes of the year where this openly gay English teacher, who is the titular character, his name is English Teacher, has a kid come up and says, "Hey, Mr. English Teacher, I think that I'm gay." And his response is like a very sympathetic, caring teacher is like, go fucking talk to your friends, dude.
Yeah.
Go come out to like.
He's like, everyone's gay now. I think you just got to tell the other kids that you're gay.
I'm not going to help you with this. You have a whole cadre of friends to go help you with.
When the bell rings and I start walking towards my car, we're done.
All right, so Mike and Nate, I don't know if you're going to notice this, but we are going to dip back and forth the other 3 people on the show between talking about English teachers and being English teachers. So
what I loved watching it and talk. Oh, great, more teacher stories. Cool. I don't just get it from you guys. I have to watch it now. But it is capturing our generation at the age we all are. And I know we're more than one generation on this call, but let's pretend we're not. Of like, we used to be progressive and woke, and now these kids are so fucking annoying. Are you kidding me right now? These kids suck. Kids suck now.
It hurts how accurate it is.
Do you want to talk about the Honora criterion?
Yes, I was going to say Ivy Wolk, who stole the year for me. She is the most annoying of the annoying kids, who's like, you can't ask somebody about their imaginary ADD or whatever the fake disease her friend made her.
Chronic illness.
Asymptomatic Tourette's.
That's asymptomatic Tourette's. Thank you. That's what it is. And then in Honora, I just kept expecting her to be more annoying. And she just was like the most normal character in that movie. But like, I think this kid is gonna go places. She's very good at just being like, I'll quietly be in my scene and own it. That's fine.
The kid with asymptomatic Tourette's. Did you recognize her? Her face?
No.
Her mom is Sofia Coppola.
Wow.
Part of the family tree.
Dang. Those Coppolas.
Do you get like an extra Nepo if you're Nepo?
Double Nepo.
Cancels out the Nepo.
Double Nep. She's going with Cage. She doesn't want to be associated with the Coppolas, but she's just going to jump over.
Her name is Rage Cage.
To the gay Rage Cage.
Okay, that's badass.
I feel like the ads for this show did a disservice to actually how nuanced and great this show is, because the ads really highlighted and made it seem like it was just going to be, here's the year we're living in, this is what times are today, and the show was so much more.
Oh, you can't be like fucking Red State and watch the show to get a leg up on the wokeness. Like, as much as the kids are sometimes a gentle punchline, it's the adults who are much more of the punch.
Yeah. And do you know what I loved is, one, because I loved Sean Patton, probably because of Twitter. I was like, why do I love this guy so much? Probably from Twitter from a decade ago. But his
and that's the guidance tech guidance counselor?
Marky, the gym teacher, who the
Yeah.
first
Okay.
episode you're
Who
like, oh, he
steals the
sucks.
show.
He doesn't know that he's the Patton Oswalt joke come to life. He doesn't know the right phrases, but his heart's in the right place.
Right.
He's just
Yeah.
like you're gay, just be gay.
And we have to point out too, Stephanie Koenig, who is the main guy's partner. I think that she's also a co-writer. I think she wrote the best episode of the season, which is Powder Puff.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I mean, when was the last time you saw a comedy come together this quickly? You know, that just
Yeah.
out of the gate was already this established.
South Side.
Fuck
Rhetorical
you.
question, Greg.
No, but that I mean that by
Yes.
way of compliment, right? Like
Yeah.
that show's
Well-
very lauded around here.
And what they both did is Southside is we actually don't have, if you ignore the Chicago greater extended universe, we don't have that many shows about Chicago. And there's not that many shows about Austin. So let's deal with what it's
Yeah.
actually like to be in a burb of Austin.
And I mean, what a clear choice to pick the bluest city in the reddest state.
Yes.
To what an outsider the city is, much less the individual characters.
And that is going up against our number 18 seed who moved in from the honorable mention bracket, How to Die Alone.
Fuck you, Greg.
So let's go to the voting. Nate, what do you think? Is it number 2 seed English Teacher or number 18 seed How to Die Alone?
Oh man, this is just gonna get harder. I'm just go with English Teacher. I like that. It was great.
Books, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with English Teacher.
Mike?
Look, everybody knows that I am an Enrico Colantoni
Yes,
man.
we did not mention his name.
From Just Shoot Me to Veronica Mars.
Yeah. Hell
to
yeah,
English
dude.
Teacher.
Yes. Hell yes. He's keeping it going.
I'm gonna say outside Dark Horse Pot Filter Hall of Famer.
He could
I
make it.
would fucking. That is
could make
truly
it, dude.
only us.
Yeah.
Which
Elliot.
Pot Filter Hall of Famer dove into his pool naked in the first episode of Party Down?
Ordinary
Enrico,
fucking people.
Ordinary fucking people. So yeah, it's got to be English Teacher for me.
Ryan, do you agree?
Yeah, it's English Teacher.
English teachers stay winning. Yeah. Try to beat that, Chat GPT.
Oh, ChatGPT just emailed me and said they beat that.
Oh no,
Man. Damn. DeepSeek is on the line.
There was
They
a
beat it
scene.
cheaper.
There was a scene there's a scene in the show straight up that all of you on here who are teachers have told me word for word. Where in the middle of a kid's essay, it just says, "Well, as an AI, I'm not.
Yeah,
I can't."
I can't answer. Man, I can't believe the low effort cheating some of them do. Like, man, couldn't you just punch this up a little bit? Like,
I also we have to move on. I understand, but I want to point out one more person from English Teacher. I think she was in 1 or maybe 2 episodes, and she was a mom on a camping trip who just always thinks that kids are 69 underpaid.
The modern
And
version
she's
of
trying to
rainbow
fuck?
parties.
yeah, dude. She's like, and she's trying to get that going amongst the adults. I like that. Also, shout out to the worst woman of all time, but hilarious. The mom from the first and last episode,
Yes.
who was like his rival, and it's just hilarious and so scary. All right, English Teacher, moving on. Up next, number 7 seed. Nobody Wants This, a show that might be improperly named. What do you think, Books? Did you want it?
I did want this. This was a show that I thought. I'm sleep deprived. I thought it was a movie initially, and I was like, meh.
Dude, I
alright.
thought this was a movie too, and then I turned it on. I was like, wait, do movies usually have a series of episodes?
Oh, a sequel is already out.
There's already a sequel.
They're kicking
All
these
right.
out.
I thought it was sleep depression. Maybe it's the English teacher in me. Maybe it seems like a movie. I don't know.
We've talked about English teachers. Books, tell me about that chemistry.
Chemistry, I thought it was great. I thought it snuck up on you. I've claimed already, I don't like cringe. I don't like also when shows have an easy, if you just talk to each other, you can work through this, and they just amp up the tension. The show doesn't do this. It's it hints at oh, this is going to be a breaking point, and then they fucking communicate. How brilliant!
Books, that first kiss.
My goodness.
We got to get the ladies' perspective on it first, though. Was that a good first kiss from Nobody Wants This?
It was a great first kiss. That's
Somebody paint a
That's
picture.
a top tier first kiss.
Okay, Books, do you want to describe it, or should we go to one of the boys here?
I'll
Hold
have
on.
one of the boys describe
Before
it.
Books describes it, I want to see both of Mike's hands.
I'll tell you, it starts off hot. First of all, this is the hottest. This kiss is hotter than 99% of sex scenes in shows, and it starts off with this. He says, "Put down your ice cream."
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a good fucking start, dude. I'm
Which-
already flustered just thinking about it.
But on the Los Angeles street, I'm not eating any more of that ice cream.
Yeah.
No, it's
Like-
gone forever.
Yeah, that is
that's
disgusting.
done for. But I feel like I didn't expect them to have good chemistry. It seemed like
Yes.
an odd pairing. And maybe that's what like made the show so delightful. Is the casting seemed odd. It just didn't seem like it was gonna like hit, and then it did. So maybe I'm like hyping it up more just because I did not expect.
What made you think these are people who
Yeah,
lose
I don't know what
chemistry
you're
with
talking about.
everybody
If you-
they've been
Yeah.
on screen
I'm
with?
not
What
gonna
the
get pissed
fuck
right
are you
now, but like,
talking about?
if you read
You
my
got the OC boys
This is
all
the
wild
machine.
here,
The OC
dude. This is
and
the Veronica Mars
best
boys.
high school shows ever.
Wow,
now
I'm
they're
being cheap.
fucking.
They seem opposite though, and maybe it's because they ooze chemistry with other people. I agree, they are both chemistry people. But
I mean, yeah, they're
just
like
could
MC
not
Scat Cat. And
picture
Paula
them
Abdul.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Paula
they
Abdul.
just seemed like an odd pairing. They're both very.
Well, that's what the whole
great.
show's about, Books.
Mike, if
Listen,
you're Dax,
I
if you're,
owned up to being wrong about it.
Mike, if you're Dax Shepard, do you need
You're
answers?
worried.
Yeah, are you freaked out a little bit by what's going on? In
Do you
this
want
show?
drugs and alcohol right now?
I'm just rolling around in all that car order on your phone money, so I'm distracted. I don't even know. Do you guys not see those commercials?
I guess
No.
Dax gives big cuck energy anyway, so I bet he's into it.
I mean, he's doing something right? Like this isn't the first time that
crazy.
he's ever figured out. Like I'm like so many leagues below my wife.
There's been so many interviews where like with Dax Shepard where he's like, I failed again, I messed up again, I got drunk, I got high, and my wife was always with me, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, don't be by his side, bro. Be by
Man,
my side.
You want a fucking mess, dude? Come check this out, man.
I will
could be
never tell you I'm going to quit my drugs and
Could
alcohol.
be fucked up.
But no, like this is an all-time like let's pick the two actors that have the most chemistry with anybody,
Yeah.
and put them together.
Yeah.
And then stack
There's
your
also
cast. Nate.
because I was going to say the sibling counterparts for both of them are excellent too. Like their storyline is as interesting as a thread to pull to a potential
the
second
sister
season, so.
who is also Willa from
Yes,
Yeah.
and
from,
I heard so much about
Succession.
Jonah from Veep, but
yeah.
I think it's Justine Lupe from Succession that steals the show.
Well,
she
yes,
is the
dude.
funniest person.
Especially Willa had so little to do, and then
Right.
Yeah.
Justine was that Succession was heavy hitters. So but I feel like she truly gets to shine here and is so.
Willa
fucking
was-
Also, it's
funny.
about that. It's about something that we all know here, which is the drama of selling your podcast for
Right.
a lot of money. Like, and that's just.
It almost
I mean,
tore
that's
us
like,
apart.
yeah, and I'm glad that we turned our back on
Yeah,
all
we
that.
decided
Can
not
we-
to do it.
Okay, this show will never win Best TV Comedy because there are scenes where they're recording their podcast in their kitchen and the mom is just talking off mic.
What are you doing,
Everybody's just
lady?
walking.
fuck
Are
is
we
happening right now?
Are we pretending that the mics pick her up and your listeners will be able to hear that? What the fuck?
They don't have headphones on. What's the room tone
Do
situation
the
in there?
research.
How
be a
much
method
echo is
writer.
there?
Yeah, there's so much echo in that incredible kitchen. That listen to a podcast or record a podcast before you film a show. You piece of.
You have-
It's
they have-
really disrespectful.
I know he's not in the podcast scenes, but you have a consultant who's been on one. Timothy Simons, Jonah from Veep, had his Veep podcast because we sat there. We were across the stage because Ryan and I are also famous podcasters. So we know he knows how to do it.
Mike and I were in a podcast studio while Jonah from Veep was recording. We stood right at his door and he refused to look at us.
Do you think that's the problem though? He's only ever recorded a podcast in a studio, so he's like, people from home must just do it
Who
in
knows?
their homes.
Nothing matters.
They just sit on
it's
the
fine.
couch.
Also,
Plus,
Jonah
he's
from,
California sober, so he can't be trusted to pay
what does that
attention to
mean?
what's
He
going
smokes avocados?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like all fucking Californians do. Not Dark Horse, but another amazing actor who rounds out the cast is fucking Tova Feldsha.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need a shitty Jewish mom? Get her on the horn. She did it in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She's doing it
A
again
little
here as
typecast,
Bina.
yeah.
She's a monster.
Very scary lady. And that Nobody Wants This is going up against our number 10 seed, Abbott Elementary. Nate.
I love this show. It's a warm hug always.
It's the Bob's Burgers of our generation.
It is our leading. I'm gonna mug at the camera in between my lines show that exists on television right now, and I don't know. And plus, it's Philly, like go Birds, etc.
Philly, go Birds,
gotta-
we're going to the bowl, baby. Get
You gotta
your
watch
batteries
this,
ready.
John. People.
I did not know that Mike knew that they were going to the Super Bowl.
Very good, Mike.
Eagles, Eagles. Texted my dad, congratulations. He said, are you flying out for the party? My family has problems. Are you serious for football, Dad?
I thought he would say new phone who dis. So that's a pretty good text.
Is this show at all like suffering from the fact that this is its third, fourth season at this point?
I think it swung up. I think amazing first season, took a dip, and then back. And getting Janine and Gregor together, we want to talk about chemistry and sexualness of just implied smooches. These two on the episode where she's trying to throw the perfect party, it's hot.
Also, the whole fucking crew, all of the employees of Abbott Elementary think that Janine is the biggest dork.
Yeah.
And now they're learning that it's Gregory.
Oh, yeah.
If your name is Greg, you're the dork.
Not necessarily true. All right, number 7, Nobody Wants This versus number 10, Abbott Elementary. Ryan, which way you going?
Hey, Abbott.
I hate that guy.
You, Abbott?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Mike?
Nobody wants this.
Books?
Nobody Wants This.
Nate?
I'm going to go Abbott.
Oh, so that is a tie. That means it's coming to me. You know, honestly, I think we always love the new thing and we get enamored of it. But for me, Abbott Elementary, that's like watching, you know, as soon as it's on the DVR, you know you're going to go tune it in. I love Nobody Wants This, but it just doesn't quite raise to the level of heart and love. And I think that if this were the first season of Abbott Elementary, we wouldn't have a question. All right, so our number 3 show is Hacks in its 3rd season. Ryan, tell us about Hacks.
This is the season that a couple of people said it jumped the cliff. Jumped the shark.
Okay.
Yeah, like they had told their story, and now this is getting old. I couldn't disagree more. I couldn't believe the response to this. I thought it was funnier than ever. I thought that they were more in their groove. And guys, this was the season that had the roast of Deborah Vance.
Yes.
With Caitlin Olsen from. I used to say It's Always Sunny, but now she's from High Pressure.
The Mick?
Potential.
High Potential.
The Mick also, shout out to the
and
Mick.
The
The Mick was low-key good, you guys, okay?
No, the Mick was good.
Everybody shut the fuck up. The Mick was good.
This season crushed.
Yeah. I'm shocked that people didn't like it. I think we just get tired of our comedies. I don't know if we get tired of our dramas in quite the same way. Nate, do you agree this was a solid season of Hacks?
Yeah. One, the episode where they get lost in the woods was exceptional in every possible way because it was a bottle episode that involves bonding and just having a perfect comedic moment of a couple of kids on dirt bikes riding up and being like, what do you guys are lost? You're literally like, you know, you're 5 feet away from
and
our
they're
house.
so polite.
Yeah, for a bike, for
a dirt bike,
For a dirt bike, yeah.
But also just to continue to play with the dynamic of like, right when you think they're locked in, they're gonna be together, you get this just same sort of like, I have to play to what I am most afraid of to succeed, and that means cutting you out, and then a beautiful turn to flip that on its head. And also, Deborah's hot when she seduces the CEO guy at the golf course. Like,
Gene
that was
Smart's
good
so
shit.
Hot.
I mean, like, you want to talk about foils, like how usually it's like, you know, we come together in this one way, but how Deborah Vance is just going like, oh, I have an open heart now, and Hannah Einbinder's like, I'm a fucking cutthroat bitch now. Like, that's just fascinating.
Well, they both love each other. And it's like a family love, but it's also like a slightly queer coded love. It's kind of like mother-daughter, but it's kind of like a lesbian love for each other. And they're friends, but they're also fucking huge enemies. And they end this season basically with their hands at each other's throats. Like they are threatening and trying to destroy each other while still trying to work together.
What's great about the end of it is, like so many sitcom episodes we were saying earlier, is status quo. We end back where we were. This is doing it in a season-long arc, and very naturally, it makes so much sense by the end and for where they both are in life and their careers that they once again are like, no, we were made up, but now fuck you for real.
Yeah.
And it's
this is basically a relationship out of next week's show, Industry. Sorry, next week winning show, Industry. Sorry. Like,
put it down.
The sort of the violence and the like trying to work together, trying to get ahead, trying to like have a real relationship.
You've heated me to my max, but now I'm done, and now we're best friends again.
Yeah. And that's going up against Bob's Burgers, which is a winner from an earlier round and our 18th seed. So, Ryan, what's it going to be? Hacks or Bob's Burgers?
It's Hacks.
Nate, what's it going to be?
Yeah, I love Bob's Burgers, but it's Hacks.
Books, what's it going to be?
Hacks.
Mike, what's it going to be?
Say it with me. What a cunt. It's Hacks.
Yeah, congrats to Bob's Burgers, but Hacks is still going super strong. Our number 6 seed is What We Do in the Shadows. Our vampire comedy enters its final season. Nate, did they manage to bring it home for you? Did you enjoy it?
I think this is one of the best final seasons of a show that I have seen in recent memory.
Yeah.
One, it sort of fixes the problems that were happening the previous season that were making it feel a little rote and sluggish. It reboots and does like a weird workplace comedy thing, so it can be satirical about private equity and all that
worked.
shit.
That shit worked.
It was so good. It was so good because it really, because here's my hot and entirely original take. What if investment are the real vampires in our society, and that's what we're talking about.
Also, what if comedy show Tim Heidecker?
Also, what do we do in the shadows?
Often they're like kind of going like, you know, it's like a cape up, kind of like a.
We are neighbors.
But the ending is so good, and the fact that they went to the trouble to give you different versions of the ending to watch under hypnosis, and that they checked the ending of Newhart in one of those is great.
Oh, that's like tonight's earlier loser, Curb Your Enthusiasm, with the Seinfeld ending.
Much like that loser show for jerks. And then our number 11 seed, St. Penis Medical. Who watched St. Penis Medical? Books. Tell me about Penis.
Penis is it's a comedy show that takes place in a hospital. You get a lot of to the camera. You've got a kooky head director who's kind of like, I mean, you can feel that it's building off of a bit of the Office kind of stereotype. Right?
This is
You've
a
got the
sitcom-y
director. It's a sitcom show.
Right?
Yeah. It's very much reminiscent of The Office. But the comedic elements, I feel like, are working. I feel like it needed a few episodes to kind of get its grounding, but it's doing stuff. I like it. I don't know.
Damn,
Mike,
who's
this
good
is your
on it,
pick,
Mike?
right?
We got Wendy McClendon Covey, fucking rock star comedian. Ever since Ryan hates her, apparently. Ever since
Ryan says no.
That's what you're shaking.
One of my
you
favorites.
were shaking your head in the way like I'm wrong.
One of my favorite actresses in this show. So tired. We have seen this. Like, it feels like the show needed to have that character.
Right, you're a shitty weird boss. They're gonna look. Amy Poehler's character wasn't great season 1 of Parks and Rec either. They're gonna get there.
I'm going to say it. Based on what I've heard so far, this show fucking sucks.
No, this show rules.
Like, it does not
Shut
make
your
an
fucking
impression
mouth.
on anybody.
No. Oh, I said one thing and was interrupted? Fuck
It's
off.
gonna get there.
Mickey Leeper as the weird religious cult guy who sort of believes in medicine, even though now he's a new Nurse Rules. The guy from Superstore who's playing, he was a pharmacist then, now he's the same character, but a surgeon who's obsessed with katanas. He rules.
Josh Lawson as Bruce.
David Allen Greer, heard of him, crushing it.
Hell yeah,
Are you
get
sick
it.
of?
Dag?
Are you sick of Harrison Ford being a grouchy old man? Because now David Allen Greer is being a grouchy old man, but he rules.
He is the best part of the show. I thought that he would be like, I'm old at this point, but he's like, no, I am old.
Yeah.
I don't understand any of these people. And then he is always funny.
I'm old, but I only want to date 30-year-olds.
Sandra this is from the creators of Superstore, underrated show that fucking ruled. Sandra from Superstore is here, but in a very not Sandra role, and she's angry all the time and hates everybody, and it rocks. This show, shut up, everybody. This show rips ass.
I was trying to get there. I think the first few episodes kind of let it down a little bit, but I think it has so much potential, and I think it's like a Parks and Rec where it's gonna need to have its time to show how great it is.
Let's grade on potential instead of actual what you have done.
But you go back and you watch the first season of Parks and Rec and you like it, right? At least I do.
No, I don't
the
like
Mark
it.
Brandanowitz era? No way,
Brandanowitz
man. That's
lives.
a skip.
Some of it, Brandanowitz
That's
truthers
a
are out
skip.
there.
You can flush that whole season.
And I'm so tired of hearing songs from Mike's band.
Brandanowitz exists.
Every song is about
All right,
Mark
I guess I'm
Brandanowitz.
wrong
Later
on
in this
this.
house.
But like Parks and Rec, if we did the bracket back then, would have won seasons 3 through 6.
Yeah.
Would not have won season 1. I don't know. Allison Tolman, one of my favorite actresses, wasted here.
Well,
just
that's
winking at
I
the
listed
camera.
a lot of people. I didn't say I love Allison Tolman. I didn't say her name for a reason.
All right, so what's it going to be? Number 6 seed, best show of all time, What We Do in the Shadows, or Stinkeroo number 11, St. Penis Medical? Mike, what's it going to be?
You could have said taint penis medical.
I don't
Taint
like that you keep
Penis
saying the name
Medical.
wrong. It's Saint Denis Medici.
Is that Roman?
It's a Roman.
Italian?
Books, what do you say?
Honestly, I wasn't going to vote this way, but now I feel like I need to defend
Yeah.
it because it has potential. It's
Now,
St. Denis
now me and
Medical.
Books are angry at you
Okay.
guys.
Whoa, okay. A lot of people are just saying whatever. Okay, I want everyone to think a little bit more and take this a little bit more seriously. Nate, which of these two shows is it? The St. Denis Medical with David Allen Greer, or What We Do in the Shadows, the 6th seed?
What we poo in the shadows, if we want to make it even.
Yeah,
We poo in the
fun.
shitters.
Even the playing field here.
Mickey Lepper was on Comedy
Yeah.
Bang Bang
Yes, he
last
was.
year to talk about this, to promote this show. And Scott Aukerman at one point says, so is this all just a setup so that someone can turn that D into a P at some point? And Lepper goes so silent that it is obvious that is in
Right.
fact a
It is the
plan. I have not
The
seen
one
it yet.
stumble he had never has a first-time guest fit in more into the world of Bang Bang. And then the one time he's like, ugh.
Because Dennis has 2 ends in it, but this specifically has 1 end, so as to only become penis.
And so, Nate,
But,
your final vote is?
But my vote is for What We Do in the Shadows. I can't. I'm sure Saint Denis will be good later, but not yet.
I have had the humbling experience once again of making the same joke as Scott Aukerman.
Your whole fucking
Always
life.
a sobering experience.
But
Ryan,
at least it's you did it before you heard it, as opposed to Mike, who always does it after he heard him make the
Hey,
joke.
it worked for him.
I will go with What We Do in the Shadows.
and I will use my tie-breaking vote to elect Pete Hegseth, defense head. No,
Fucking shit,
right,
Greg.
move on. What We Do in the Shadows, and I just, with a lot of respect to Saint Denis Medical. Wow, great show. I don't know about you, but after all that elimination, I need to take a little break and catch my breath. When we come back, we move on to the next round. We've said our piece. Now it is time to make some pretty tough cuts.
It's time.
Our first matchup of this round is our number 1 seed, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, versus Girls 5 Eva. Mike, which do you see moving on?
This is very hard because I love both of these shows so much, and one is an underdog story.
Yeah.
But there's an undeniability to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the sexiest show of the year, which is not what we're ranking here, but it's also not why my vote's going that way. Don't call me a pervert. It's Mr. and Mrs.
Hard
Smith.
to ignore. All right, Ryan, what do you say?
Other
we can't
Mike?
just keep going to Mike.
No,
Okay, he's voted-
Mike and
he
other
voted
Mike is
already.
what we call us.
Oh, I love when my wife calls me Other Mike. That's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
But no, I'm absolutely going Girls 5 Eva. It is a one-of-a-kind show, and fuck you, the world.
Yeah,
Yes,
if you
very
ignore
good.
Good News and Kimmy Schmidt and 30 Rock, it's a one-of-a-kind show.
I don't know what that means. I'm not going to engage with it. Books?
It's an insult.
You know what? I love an underdog. I'm gonna go with Girls 5 Ever.
Uh-oh. Things are getting spicy. Nate?
Are we okay that she said the hard R in Girls 5 Ever?
I did say I regretted it the second it came out. Okay, don't call attention to it, Mike. Let it go.
Hey, producer Dave, please cut out all of Mac's hard R's from the
Just
entire
kidding.
show.
It was so hard. I tried. I thought about it too. I was like, don't do the R.
Don't say it. Don't be an English teacher
Still
for this
fucking
1
came
second.
out.
As much as I love a really well done invisible piano bit, I have to go with Mr. and Mrs. Smith for being like a show that I will never stop thinking about.
So
it is just so layered.
It's tied and it's coming to me. Ryan, which of these two shows had Paula Pell on it?
It's Girls 5 Eva.
Oh, yeah,
Girls
at
5
the Farmer's
Ever.
Market and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Girls 5 Eva moves on. They never should have taken this
What
away
an
from us.
upset. I love it. Even though I voted the other way, I love it.
All right. Things are getting spicy. Here we go. Our next matchup is our number 4 seed, Somebody Somewhere, versus number 5 seed, Phantasmus Books. Which way are you going?
Somebody Somewhere just hit right where I needed to, right at the right moment. That's got my vote.
Yeah, this is kind of a fucked up matchup, but I don't think there's any easy ones left,
Yeah.
Ryan. What do you say?
No, there isn't any easy ones left.
Yeah,
Greg.
very good. Do you also want to vote on the matchup?
Sure.
Man, he almost, at his own joke, he almost lost his shit so hard, I thought we were going to have to pause this
Oh,
show.
I'm sorry.
Ouch.
That's how funny I think I am. When you make a skit show, there's going to be ups and downs, and that's sort of what. But like, there's no bad episodes of Somebody Somewhere. It's Somebody Somewhere.
Yeah, dude. Like, literally, there's not a bad. I don't even think there's a bad 5 minutes in the show's catalog. Mike, what do you say?
I believe in Phantasmus.
All right, here we go. Nate, what do you say?
I also big swings have to happen. This kind of show needs to be on TV all the time. There needs to be one of these every year, all the time. Phantasmus.
Greg, did you think you would dictate the entire final round?
I get to vote again. Ryan, which one of these shows has the most famous drag king of all time?
Somebody Somewhere.
Somebody Somewhere
Is that Murray
is
Hill?
moving on.
Is that Murray?
Yeah, that's Fred.
Fred, yes. Their name's not Murray. I got to look this
the
up.
guy
I
that's
feel bad if I'm
associated
wrong.
with. Yeah. All right. Wow. I like making decisions. Usually I freak out about this, but this is going my way.
There's no wrong answer. You're safe.
I know. These
no
are 8
wrong-
incredible shows. in
Yeah.
this elite
Very
league.
true. Very true. And we have what every kid hopes to see. It's a teacher fight. Number 2, English teacher versus number 10, Abbott Elementary. Nate, what's moving on for you?
I mean, jeez. Yeah. Okay. We're going with Abbott Elementary.
All right. I love it. Definitive. Mike?
I will say, producer Dave told me I was right. It is Murray Hill. I didn't need to freak out. Go Mike. Good memory. I'm an ally. And it is English teacher for me, dog.
Always go to your producer to find out if you're still an ally or not.
Hey, man. Am I still an ally? Books. English teacher or Abbott Elementary?
This is tough. But I think just based off of the year, I need the warm hug show. It's Abbott Elementary.
All right, Ryan, what is it? English teacher or Abbott Elementary?
Oh, it's clearly English teacher. That's the best show of the year.
I think that means it's tied again, right? 2 for English teacher,
It does. Yeah, it's tied again.
2 for Abbott Elementary.
Remind him, Ryan,
Wow.
which show had a Leather Daddy episode? I assume that's where Greg was going to go.
No, but in Powder Puff, there is a
Yes.
very famous drag queen that comes on. Yes.
Oh, yeah, Trixie Martel is
Yes.
on it, right? And, oh, my God, she's so fucking good in it.
And just stealing
And
printers.
she
shit from
she
high
steals
school.
so many printers. Man, she steals so many printers. And, yeah, that's enough for me.
I did not know
That's a monkey's
how
paw.
Greg would vote.
Stealing
English
printers? That you're making your own hell.
teacher. Yeah, so much of English teachers is about, like, how being too Libby completely makes it so you can't see the world very clearly. Like, she is a drag queen. Also, she's literally stealing everything she can get her little
And
paws on.
he just stands in the parking lot and he's like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah,
Hashtag
but wait,
yes on
how-
drag queens. They're all thieves. Let's start that stereotype here.
All
All
right.
right, Amelia Perez.
Our last matchup of this round, number 3 Hacks versus number 6. What do we do in the shadows? Ryan.
Oh, it's Hacks.
Mike.
The world is a vampire, but I am
Yeah.
also a hack. That is hard. It's Hacks.
Nate.
Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows really did land their finale, but Hacks is on it's like at the top of the roller coaster. Like, I can't wait to see what happens next. Let's go Hacks.
Do you agree, Books?
I agree. Hacks takes it.
Wow.
Sorry, Greg.
Sorry.
Didn't vote on that one.
I guess I'm not going to get my wish this one time, but my wish was actually for Hacks to move on.
Oh.
That's what he says
We
now.
got some ladies comedies moving on. Here we go, everybody. This is the semifinal here. Girls 5 Eva number 9 versus number 4 Somebody Somewhere. Books. What do you got?
Somebody Somewhere.
Mike.
Gonna be famous 5 ever.
Nate.
I'm going to go Girls 5 Ever also.
Ryan.
Somebody Somewhere.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Suck it, host.
The reason for the season is comedy, and the funniest show of these two is Girls 5 Eva. Girls 5 Eva, moving on. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I'm the one
Yeah,
who
you're
did
going to regret that all night. You're going to lose sleep. But can we move somebody somewhere to drama next week?
I'm okay with that.
Man, it is the most dramatic of any of these shows.
Yeah,
all
kick
right.
out Chicago Fire.
Number 2, English Teacher versus number 3, Hacks. Nate, what do you got?
I gotta go Hacks.
Mike?
I got to do this out loud, right? Because I'm physically computing.
You gotta walk us through it.
You're Winona Ridering from that one award show.
Dude.
You're just looking around and seeing numbers.
Wait, is that before or after she forgot how to act?
Before.
Suck it,
right
Winona.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when she started doing so many drugs that she couldn't remember how to act
was it
anymore.
drugs? I was
Yeah,
just
that's when she
assuming-
started doing drugs.
She started doing drugs again,
she
Ryan.
started so young. It's the thing is with child actors is like, are we taking care of them? I'm trying to avoid what we're here to talk about, which is Hacks versus English Teacher, two amazing shows that really encapsulate what I think about you guys. You're all English teachers and you're all fucking hacks.
Oh, that's rude. That's rude.
It's
That's
English
I
very
should have seen that coming.
It's English teachers.
All right. Mike is English teacher. Ryan, what'd you say? You were Hacks, right?
I was not. I was an English teacher.
You didn't
You were
vote yet.
English teacher. Nate,
I said Hacks earlier.
books.
I was hoping somehow there was someone else still needing to vote so I could think over this a little bit more.
It's hard.
It's very difficult. I think I'm going to... I feel like I have a sentimental attachment to Hacks because it's on its 3rd season, whereas the English Teacher is just the 1st season, so I just don't quite have it so much as investment.
Many more TV comedies to win
Yes.
for English teacher.
Yeah, so Hacks. Thank you.
Shit. That was not my vote. But that does
Now
bring
it's
it to
up
you
to
again, Greg.
And it is me again, and I'm going to go with Hacks because Hacks is like the show I am most excited about from this year, probably. But will it be the champion? We have Girls 5 Ever, the number 9 seed, versus Hacks, the number 3 seed. Ryan, what do you got?
Let's take a break.
You want to take a break? Think
No, I'm
about
just
this.
Let's take some phone calls. No, it's so to me like.
Oh, no, we're not going to. Okay.
Mike, do you have an accent that you're ready to do on a phone call? It's Girls 5 Ever.
Mike.
Hey, here's the tang. Oh, I agree. It's Girls 5 Ever. I do have an accent, bitch.
Nate.
Yeah, I'm caught up in this now a little bit, and also I will say, Girls 5 Eva feels like a show that I will watch over and over and over again, and it will just grow in my esteem the way that all good comedies eventually
Whereas
do.
Hacks,
So,
no one will ever see ever again.
well, it won't hit the same way, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Girls 5 Eva. Let's
All right,
let's go.
all right. Books, what's your vote? Just for posterity.
Just for posterity, but I feel like we're doing justice because it did canceled unfairly. So we're giving it that justice it deserves.
Hell
So
yeah.
Girls 5 Eva is going to get the vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor. Watch Girls 5 Eva. Please watch it on home video. Watch it on Netflix. Get it on Laserdisc. Get the soundtrack on vinyl. They've got some real bangers there.
I remember I think we named Happy Endings the best show of our Pop Filter run.
Yes.
This is some of that shit. Just like Girls 5 Ever winning is this is.
Do you want to know
If you put
our
on-
specific butthole comedy?
I think what it comes down to is what is the show that is guaranteed to make you laugh the most. Like there's a lot that goes into what makes these shows good, but ultimately when it comes down to judging them against each other as comedies, we pick the funniest show. We pick the show that has the most laughs per minute.
And my favorite thing, which is probably not any of the 5 of us' number 1 show.
Yeah.
But the
Yes.
most show of the 5 of us, right?
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, please, I'm just asking you, what are you waiting? 5. Right? That is our
Right.
show. The best comedy of 2024 was Girls 5 Eva. Nate, thank you so much. Do you want to plug Debut Buddies a little bit?
Yeah, it's a podcast about firsts. We're going to be recording an episode very soon about the First Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown book. If you remember watching television in the 80s and commercials, it's going to be great. Hell yeah.
All right. Thank you so much to Books. Thank you to everybody on the show. And you know what? Keep listening to everybody. But in the meantime, do me a favor, would you? Keep watching those TV comedies.